genres, mainly pop-in, lock-in, and b-boy. Of course, all the elements were being, so I felt how big that was and how it was represented both in the media and how different that was from what I see. But I was more on the outside of the ciphers looking in. I was kind of a shy kid and had visions and ideas, inspired a lot by the rawness of this. I would go wherever I can. I would go up to Speedway, I would go to anywhere that I could I would try to go there when I rode my bike. But I never felt cool enough or worthy. All it took really was in junior high, one person seeing me in the dark corner on the side, telling me like, wow, you have rhythm, you can get down, you know? And I was like, I can't, because I was really? And then I step more from the corner, a little bit, more towards the outside rim of the middle. And I think as my confidence grew, I went from dancing to school dances. And then it wasn't until high school that I finally really went to all of the battles. And it was an interesting feeling because all the poppers, b-boys, and lockers I grew up with, they were going through an interest. During that time when Breakin', Electric Boogaloo, Beat Street, and all that came, really quick stardom. Everyone was like, it was all over TV, and even though I did not see a Filipino face TV, I felt the culture I grew up with in there. The only thing that was interesting to me is that they called everything break, even though I was like, that's poppin' and that's locking. What I know, and but I thought it was an opportune time. At least our culture is up there. At least the rawness of what I saw was somewhat, portrayed. I was in that era, especially in the late '80s, early '90s, where those movies were stopping to be made, and the dance shows also were going through a shift. And so then I saw, when hip-hop was created, it was created by the community, for the community. So I saw those as very same people that I knew that were like dope dancers go back. They were telling stories of what was happening. The media kind of turned their back on hip-hop. Segregation between what was considered old school and what was considered new school. And I was a product of both, and I actually liked both. That bridge in the middle that loved both. So I saw something I grew up admiring completely go underground and being called old school and played out, even though I loved it. And then this exciting new thing called new school. I saw Mop Tops and on the East Coast. I was excited by that. And then Funky Junction was my #1 group. So I would go and check out wherever they're battling, wherever I heard there was going to be a house battle, I would be there with my crew, who was only 4 people, my high school crew, and we would just get inspired, and we would get. The sad thing for me was I missed the pop-in, So when you combine the sense of belonging of being in a cultural dance company growing up, the excitement of coming to UCI, the influence of battles and choreography blended together, what do? You get a really excited freshman who has this idea that maybe that can happen in the college level. Why not? I didn't understand why there were PCNs, and what I grew up with, not PCNs by itself. I didn't understand why there were PCNs and there wasn't inclusion of what we were so good at. Because growing up, I was like, man, some of the dopest b-boys are the ones that had footwork and style. I love that. We were part of that innovation. I was, a hyper freshman, I admit. So I went up to the president of Kaba and I said, hey, you know what? Since there's all these, but can we also add, can we add a modern dance section, a hip hop section? Because the president at the time said, yeah, go ahead, start it, put flyers up and have auditions. So the next day, I was so crazy. The next day I went to Xerox and, I made color copies. I put it all over Aldrich Park. And before I knew it, people were hitting pager. I think it was cell phone by then. Whatever the device was, no choice. I was getting hit up and it was blowing up. Mostly girls wanted to be a part of this Kababayan modern dance. It was too late. He said yes, it's happening. So we had auditions, a bunch of girls, and we had 4 guys. So Kaba Modern actually started almost a mixture of, so we had auditions and then we had what ended up happening is people ended up liking it. And Samahang was already doing it, but theirs was on a larger scale. It wasn't. So then it was really cool because all the universities started incorporating. After that and a year after that was Pac Modern. All of them were, although the founders of all the groups were Pinoys. When I look at how all of that began, how did I'm super passionate about always because I feel that validation is Kaba Modern. After it's been around now, this is our 22nd year. But in 2008, actually before that, I'm going to show you a pictorial tour, which actually includes the debut. So that was our second year of Kaba Modern at PCN.
That's Arnel in the middle.
They made me. Okay, I didn't choose that.
That's Arnel in the middle.
That was our first, that was 1990. That was at Friendship Games. First we started at Culture Nights, and then they asked us to perform at, that's Cheryl up in the corner. You know what's interesting about all those dancers? Like, I was all about not recruiting not just the best dancers, but the best people. So I recruited each of them. I knew she was coming from the Bay. There's a group up there that I really loved, Jedi Mind Tricks, and she was like part of the girl version, and I was just like, they're from DI, Dangerous. He's from San Diego, Covina. I mean, I went out where the best were, and I brought them in. That was, before there was the Vibe, which my roommate actually created in college. There was all of the dance competitions, so it was at import show-offs. So this is at Del Mar, and this is like the legendary showdown between Team Millennia and Kaba Modern. It was their last chance to be. So we were fortunate to win, and then we got asked to open for LL Cool J, which for us, our goal with that was just to diversify the face of what hip hop can be, and at a big concert like that, it was a big. Then we were asked to be a part of this groundbreaking John.
Look at Arnel's glasses.
Yeah, they made me wear glasses. Thanks a lot.
He has a mustache.
So that was an amazing opportunity, a grassroots effort that I was really, really proud of. Now this opportunity, I was actually hired as or brought on as just created this, and once I caught wind of what it actually, I wasn't interested in the sense of like, I was seeing it as a re-emergence of what was happening before when hip-hop mass media, and I thought of it as an opportunity for us to anybody, within our dance community to get on this hip-hop, because before that, the only people I ever saw on TV was Nia Peoples on Fame, or one of the Fly Girls, obviously, but besides that, I felt like this was an opportunity because although we knew, when we first came on, one of the first comments is how surprised they were that we know, crazy, it's for everybody. So, that was us. We got off. We knew we were going to be voted off before we were voted. So this is our family now. It's a lot larger, because obviously the tradition of Kaba Modern is so many things, but a lot of it is partying, it's growth. There is one. There's a picture that is not on there. Our tradition, whenever we end a performance or right before we go on stage, and that whole is like where we throw all our jitters, we put all of our passion, and that's why my chapter was called, because I think like we fought, but it's whole like WH, because I feel like sometimes like our validation comes from I'm the president of a international nonprofit called. Even in there, Pinoys are very, very, very representative. What's great about that is that it embraces. What's interesting, I'm just going to end it on this, about that whole ride on ABDC. Did we face politics on the show and after this? Some people know and some people like, but the whole reason for that was not. The whole reason and the biggest blessing from that show is the ability to connect. Because after the show, we were able to travel and go to other. And I think it resonated like really, especially in Guam, Hawaii, and the three of the most. What was really important is how and I feel like that's the most recent one, the validation. But it really, true power is